Hey, well, welcome back to Texas Cryptid Chat. I'm sitting down today. Oh, that's our secret podcast that we don't tell people about. I'm sitting down with Andrew Martinez today from Lone Star Lawn Talk, and I wanted to get him on so that we could do a Texans helping Texans sort of thing as I'm getting the lawn care business off the ground here in Richardson, Texas. Andrew is over on the other side of DFW. So we're not direct competitors, but we are in the same sphere and we're buds. And so I just thought that I'd get him on to give me some advice from his wisdom of, living through the 115-degree summers. I thought you'd be a great person to reach out to for some advice.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it. Well, it's good to see you anyways. It was great to see you at the Equip Expo. It was great to hook up with you here last summer. And I have to tell you, when you told me about you had mentioned before about treatments and getting into the lawn care space, kind of threw me for a loop. I didn't know if you were serious or not. So that's pretty cool, man. I mean, yeah, going from are you still doing the digital side of everything and you're just adding that onto it, or?
Yes. So the goal is I'm doing it with a couple of partners. And yeah, I haven't given a lot of even the listeners a lot of detail here. So this is good. So I've got a couple of buds that I have known for 10, 12 years now. We went to
Cool.
college together. We lived together. We have worked through all of the conflict that you could have with one another in a much less mature and, more personal way, even than business, where it's all of the conflict you have with your roommates when you're 20. We work well together. We've worked on some other projects. And so it was finally like the stars just aligned. I've been living in a new spot in Richardson and I was training for a half marathon
Whoa.
and running through the neighborhood and just realized I was running during the summer when it was super hot and miserable, but I was like, I've got to get out and train. No professional, like what you and I would consider a professional company. There are
Mm-hmm.
none in this country club neighborhood. It's
Really?
all
Wow.
like beat up 1990s GMC Sierras with no branding. No one's in a uniform. I know it's different groups of guys, but they're all the same, all the trucks are the same, and so I was just like, where is the city turf? Where is the, big business that comes
Right.
in here with a wrapped vehicle
Yeah.
and easily recognized employees? And they just aren't here. So we're getting started. And I see, plumbers who operate on a professional level through here, construction companies. There's constantly remodeling going on around here. And all of those
Gotcha.
companies are in the same, trucks are wrapped, all of that sort of thing.
So they have
And the
they have the tier of professionalism to them, and the lawn care folk have like the preconceived notion of, oh, that's just the lawn guy kind of look still, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
So,
Wow.
but people care about their lawns. There's unofficial homeowners associations in both of the neighborhoods that we want to operate in, and they both do yard of the month type things.
Oh,
And the competition seems pretty significant. There's a lot of, when you look through the back catalog of who's won, it's not the same old lady every month. It passes around.
hmm.
So it just feels like a good place to work that is not incredibly high competition.
Well, I don't want to sound like negative Nancy over here, but one thing that kind of comes to mind when I hear that initially, I always try to approach new add-ons, new services, or if I'm looking at going into business with someone or possibly lessening my service and expanding on something else, I always look at the risk factor.
Mhm.
And what I guess I'd be kind of intimidated because I kind of, we all know how the Dallas market is, it's oversaturated on everything, right? Because we're a big metropolitan area, and that's both. I'm in Fort Worth now. I've worked in Dallas. I've worked in South Dallas. I've worked in South Tarrant County, which it's basically 40 miles south, 50 miles south of where you are, to the listener. And I guess one thing that hits me is I guess, would there be like a level of training or like a level of trying to maybe a season or two of letting the client know, hey, we're here. Obviously, here's the kind of person that you got that's been the standard of lawn care, I guess. And then it's like, well, now Now your team's coming in all decked out, all mowed. Do you think that would scare people away? Or do you think like, oh, we're used to this kind of thing. I want my own personal gardener. I'm thinking about scalability. I don't want people thinking like, oh, this guy over here, is charging, still the, 10-year ago rate of 35 bucks for a quarter acre property when, we're professional and we need all this. We obviously will have to charge a higher rate, and the quality will be there. Yeah, I trust you've been in the business long enough. You know what it takes to make a nice lawn. That's where I'm coming from. Does that make any sense? I'm kind of like, I get worried that you'd spend like the first year or two educating the client, basically educating the market, saying, hey, lawn care isn't just, your own personal gardener. We want to be that to you at a level, but, the showing up, knocking lawns out in, 10 minutes, whether you're wrapped with uniforms or not, 10 minutes for, $50 plus, $45 plus. And this is just all examples. I don't know what the pricing is for that market there in Richardson. I'm just kind of brainstorming with you. That's one thing that hits me is like the risk factor there. But I'm going to bounce that off of you. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Client education wise, I think that there is potential that people are used to. Number one, I don't think anyone's marketing here. I didn't see door hangers, flyers. I don't believe that a company without uniforms is doing like an extensive digital campaign that's excluding me. So like, I don't think they're used to being marketed to for lawn care. I think probably it's a word of mouth thing. And it's like,
Okay.
yeah, my neighbors use, this guy that, someone recommended to me a few years ago. Like, it's that kind of thing. And so I think my hope is that swooping in and doing some marketing, appealing to pain points, these little fly by night companies, I don't think communicate very well with their clients when there's, schedule disruption or whatever. Like, I think it's going to be some of those traditional pain points that you see with less professional companies. And I think they're used to seeing home service businesses in uniform and presenting well. And they're just not getting that from the lawn care landscape side, because every other kind of business that operates here is, doing that level of professionalism. And the lawn care guys are just kind of skating by, eating lunch in somebody's front lawn.
Oh man, well, at least there's no cigarettes and cigarette butts in the grass. Hopefully there's not. That's one thing that hits me. But then the other side of that mound is like, well, what you were just saying, if they haven't been marketed to and the approach is totally different with you, it's a breath of fresh air. Let's just say that. Yeah. I always, take it back to, my mind goes to who you used to work for some years back, and I watched their videos years and years ago. How do you make, Lawn Care Millionaire, for all those who probably already know, Jonathan Potoshnik. I always go back to his videos, when I'm thinking about this kind of stuff. What's the market telling you? What you said it just right. What are the pain points? What are things that you can implement that they're not? And I remember what he said on a couple of his clips there. And I know I kind of revert back to this. I default to that. That's how my mind works. That's how I've been in the last 10, 15 years of business. I always go back to him. Right. And it's like, whatever they're doing, do the opposite. And, maybe that is a breath of fresh air coming in. Like, oh, okay, there's a new presence here. Nobody else is here. So you're going to be setting the standard. That's awesome. Y'all are breaking in. And what was it? Is it treatments, lawn mowing, and the whole nine, or is it?
Yeah, we're gonna come in with your basic mow, blow, and go, and some weed and fert, and then in an attempt to keep the season as long as possible, we're also going to build in leaf cleanups as part of that basic maintenance package, because this whole area, the neighborhood was built in the 60s, and it's huge mature oak trees that are just
Richardson.
I
know I've been there a number of times. I have a friend that lives out there, and I mean, I don't know if there's a neighborhood that doesn't have a mature tree line.
Yeah,
there. So no,
Richardson,
you're absolutely right.
It's just, I love it so much.
Low energy bills.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my mind's at. I mean, it's always kind of a flip of a coin. So they're like kind of settled, set in their ways kind of thing. But at the same time, there's probably new built in the 60s. We're working on, generation number, 3 coming in there now. So there's a bunch of money out there. There's, a bunch of millennials buying up homes, having kids with lives and stuff like that. So that's kind of where my mind goes to. And there's a lot more thinking of, work smarter, not harder. Maybe they're traveling all week long. If there is or is not a stay-home parent there, they're busy, I'm sure, with other things. So that would probably be prime for what you're wanting to introduce, a good, crisp, fresh presence as far as, hey, let us take, you have, I don't know, it's more eye-catching, I guess you could say. It's like, okay, we've seen this for the last how many years we've been living here, ideal client, right? But then all of a sudden we have a new rush of, oh, this is nice. Okay. And and they communicate well and they show up. And then you have the person a year in, like I haven't been sold on them yet, but they've literally showed up the same day every time. And when they haven't, because of rain or whatever, they're out literally the next day or when the next opportunistic time is. And maybe some of these places talk, that use that to your advantage. Get on like what are those neighborhood things, the apps
So
and
like
stuff. Next door. Yeah. And then
there's a like garage sale Facebook group, and I've looked at their rules for businesses posting. They want you to limit it to like once a month. But I'm going to get in there. I'm going to do you know Garrett Matthews?
I don't
He's
think
pest
so.
control
No.
now, but he used to be lawn care. He like slowly made the transition.
Gotcha.
But he was one of my like Facebook ad mentors, and he is a very like non-traditional lawn care marketer. You know, a little alfalfa going there.
Yeah, I did.
But they had a like pizza trailer and then a big inflatable screen and a projector, and they would do community movie nights, and they would
That's
serve free
cool.
pizza, and it would just be like brought to you
Oh,
by Matthews. And like, so I have a projector and an outdoor screen. I might need a bigger outdoor screen, but I can do like that kind of community thing. There's a bunch of parks nestled in the neighborhood. I am not a member of the country club, but I know a few members.
yeah.
So I'm planning to like tap that personal network, try to get some community things going that are just like, they're brought to you by Canyon Creek Lawn Care, but anybody can come and hang out. And then one idea I have that I want to float by you. So we have a friend who has a house in the neighborhood. He's agreed to let us take care of his home for free so that we can work out all of our like timing and pricing here
Okay.
early
Yeah.
in the season.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. But then I was thinking, because we want to keep it incredibly dense, like exactly what Naylor has done with Clean Cut,
Yeah.
where like we're working in a square that is like literally the definition of that Facebook garage
That's
sale
how
group
you
I'm
win,
in.
man. Yep. That's how
Yeah.
you win. I tell clients and employee staff when I have it at the same, the only way we make money here in the maintenance round, I don't care if it's treatments or not. Anytime we're doing something like this, density, man. I mean, that, and how you said it, that, I mean, you literally can't go outside of that square or you're not going to be profitable. And some people don't understand that. And it's like, well, when's too far, right? So it's like you say you serve one person right on the other side of the fringe of where you need to be. Oh, right down the street from there, I have a friend. And right down the street from there, they have a friend. So that's why, I'm a promoter of a friend of the show, My Service Area, Chris Gentry with My Service Area. That's what he has a software that can plug in anybody's website that literally does exactly what you're talking about. You can literally have an area where you don't want to go, or multiple areas, and it lets the client know ahead of time when they're seeking you out online, hey, we don't serve this area, but let us grab your information and we'll. And I just think that's groundbreaking for our industry, because we're not even 20 minutes into our talk starting a new business and you're already saying that, right? So no, that's key. I mean, it's good that y'all can start with the blueprint and with a game plan that way, where a lot of us, oh, we lost our job, or, oh, I'm tired of this place, or we just grab a mower and throw it in the back of our minivans and have at it, right? So I'm glad that y'all are approaching it with a science behind it like that, because that's how you win. from the startup to when you sell it off, or what if you don't do anything. That's how you stay profitable, man. So
Yeah.
no, Naylor, I think he only works in like a 3 square miles or something crazy like
I
that.
I think that that's pretty close to what we're looking at. I think it would take you driving on neighborhood roads like 7 or 8 minutes to cross the surface area. And it's boxed in by highways on 2 sides and then a college campus and then a major road down here. So and I'm hopeful that the college campus provides us access to some part-time labor. And it's the school that we all went to. So we still have
Wow,
connections to some of the student orgs there. Um,
that's really good.
the
Well, I want to, if you don't mind, I'd like to U-turn and spend some time on, you say
Garrett Matthews, yeah.
Garrett Matthews. And you were saying something about like that monthly, like video or cinema and sponsored by, dude, I've never even thought about that. And that's actually really good because that sounds like, from the outside looking in, it's a family town. It's growing. It's inset, full of values. It's full of, I mean, that's y'all school right down the road right there, right? That's basically bringing the community together. Number one, that gets y'all in front of them saying, hey, we're part of y'all. Maybe you can throw something in there of, hey, we went to this school, or hey, we shop at the same shopping center y'all shop at. But that video night, that's really cool. I mean, I think stuff like that is what breaks it. That will also set you aside from your, let's just say, competition or the other option out there. Because I mean, that's literally knowing your market. You grew up in the market. You've lived in the market. Now you want to, live off the market
Yeah.
there, I guess you could say. But I mean, that's actually really cool. I've never even thought about something like that. We're always trying to think of creative ways to attract people to your business in a unique way that will build confidence and ultimately allow you to get the most. I don't hate to say it, but ultimately allows you to achieve and get the highest price you can per unit, or support what you're needing to get out of each stop, out of the route and stuff like that. That's really cool, especially with a dense route like that. I think that's part of the training that subconsciously sets them up thinking, oh, their community, they're professional. They care about, bringing this all together and feeding me and my kids pizza once a month and have a wholesome, flick on, and they're ready and available to answer questions there. And I
Oh,
mean,
so
that sounds,
you think the movie should be wholesome?
well, it depends on the market.
I wasn't, because I was planning on like Pulp Fiction, Seven.
Terminator, like 1992 Terminator,
No, like, oh,
unrated.
yeah, definitely a family movie. The idea I wanted to ask you about, in addition to, so I'm trying to come up with these like non-traditional marketing things that I can
Yeah,
test that'll also
that's really
be
cool. I like that.
good things to pitch to people for Lightspeed, right? Like this gives me a good avenue to test things. Um, so outside of like, I'll be putting on events and stuff, which like anyone who knows me in real life knows that I'm the kind of person who's constantly throwing parties. I run a supper club. Like that's just the kind of like stuff that I enjoy doing. I enjoy entertaining. So like aside from that, the goal is for this to be just kind of a glorified Lightspeed client for me, where I'm running all of the marketing. And then we've got our like field manager and guy who's going to be doing all of that. And then we've got our ops guy who makes sure that we're insured properly and that we're, not breaking any laws. The other like kind of non-traditional marketing that I want to do is maybe target some of the main thoroughfares through the neighborhood by offering temporarily free service to some houses along those thoroughfares in exchange for being able to put out a yard sign.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Um,
maybe not quite free, maybe discount it or something,
yeah,
like a half
like,
off. Because at
oh,
least half off, or, hey, regular rate, but let us come through and treat, or let us give you, I don't know, free Christmas lights. That's a big sale. It's a bit of an investment, but that prolongs it also, so you can at least keep some margin, or maybe, I don't know, do a raffle of some sort, or say, get a gift certificate, maybe get with, since you like entertaining and stuff like that, maybe get with a contact there locally, say, hey, can I buy up $500 worth of gift certificates to a well-known eatery there or whatever, and say, can I buy up $500 worth for, I don't know, a third of that? Because that's marketing for them, right? Because they're just going to do the same thing you're doing, write it off, and then you can say, hey, sign up today. Let us put a sign in your lawn. You can, enjoy a weekend on us, whatever, before maybe giving it all away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's just so
that's fair.
maybe just at least where you could break even. But at the end of the day, if it's working, it's working. And for every free one you give away, you get two. Well, I mean, then if it works, it works, But
Yeah,
that's where my mind goes, to kind of retain something so you can at least break even. And I think people understand that, a new presence, a new company. They're getting hit by incentives with new businesses and established businesses all the time in the mail, on the door, and door to door, all that stuff. So, oh, something to think about possibly.
yeah,
But I mean, you're on the right track, mine though.
yeah. I want to have us go from, oh, who are these like new guys that I've never seen before, to,
Right.
oh, they're everywhere. Like, and part of that's going to be, so at first we're using our field manager. We're going to use his vehicle as we're getting off the ground. But then the goal is, pretty quickly, we want to purchase a K truck
Yeah.
and paint it lime green
Nice.
and
That's
have that
eye-catching.
be, because there's no reason for us to get on a bigger than a like 2-lane road in the service area.
Wow.
So we can zip around in a K truck that goes 40 miles an hour, and that's speeding for most of our service area. So we want to be like seen in all over the service area so that we feel like ubiquitous, which is why I'm considering like we need to like really heavily target there's like Fall Creek is a big thoroughfare through here. Custer is the other one. Just like really focus on those. And then another thing that I've been thinking about, it's interesting when you're doing this there's only so many levers I can pull for client's business
Yeah.
where like I'm not there. Right. So like, even though I would love the opportunity to go and like door knock for a customer to be like, yeah, let's just get the maximum ROI we can from this. That's something I can do for this business, or I can, we know a couple of college age kids that we can hire part-time, like kind of right off the bat. And so I can send them out.
Which that's great. I mean, setting up a business, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
that right there, I mean, you're serving multiple fronts. You're going back, we're using community in there, and part-time help, I've come to realize, is actually kind of nice
Hmm.
because you're probably not going to be loaded out with work just yet all year long within the first 6 weeks of opening up. And if you do, wow, I might need to rethink my game plan, But at the same time, you have them to come in and probably pay them a nice little hourly rate, and they're right as rain, and that helps out so much with the pressures of growing the business, and they're probably already expecting part-time work. I remember when I did college work, when I was in college and I did work, if I get anything over 35 hours, I mean, look out, I'm
Yeah.
I'm get a
Oh,
big pink fur
the,
coat,
the case of PBR's on me tonight, boys. Yeah. So I want it to be, lawn care is pretty flexible as far
Yeah.
as like working around class schedules and stuff. We're going to make it clear as we scale up that we're hiring UTD kids. The nice thing is, like, they don't even need a car. Like, we're walkable to campus. I work out in the gym on campus with a community membership. Like, I jog to the gym.
Nice.
So we're just like there were too many things over here that were like, there are too many pluses for this kind of business to not try to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, I think you got the number one, if there's nobody there, and that's Richardson. For anybody out there knowing, that's I mean, yeah, it's like, are you kidding me? There's not a presence here. And again, that kind of takes me back to, why isn't there that presence here? Was it just never done? And that kind of contractor was just out there, and it never really, you're on it. Maybe you're on the next, multi-million-dollar route. You have no idea. Maybe and then you'll discover a year or so, a few quarters into it, I can kind of see why, the professional touch as far as lawn care never got in there, which is weird because there's a lot of treatment companies out there and lawn care companies out there in areas like that, which is shocking to me. And we're talking, and that's shocking to me because I've been out there a couple of times and it seems fairly affluent. I would say the areas in Richardson I've been, especially off of 75 and stuff that's like right there next to industry and down, the, I guess, more metropolitan area right there. And even closer into just more straight neighborhood areas around school. I'm shocked that there's not a presence that what you're trying to accomplish hasn't already been done.
Yeah, man. I don't know where they are. I don't
Or
know.
maybe they're doing what you're doing, and maybe they're only in like 4 or 5 streets, and you never see them.
Yeah. It's it's a tight little pocket here of like pretty high end homes. They were
Yeah,
gargantuan when they were built in the 60s, like pretty
right. Yeah.
sprawly ranches. And yeah, I mean, I'm all in the neighborhood. I was peak mowing season. I was all through the neighborhood and I just didn't see not one
Interesting.
uniform. Like I don't know where they are.
Have you done
I mean,
any
maybe it's
Google
just that
searches
it's been
or
easy
anything like
enough.
that for them?
Do what?
Have you done any like Google searches or anything like that for that area or surrounding areas for something that you're trying to accomplish yourself?
I know that there are like lawn care services, and I'm sure that there's a number of professional ones that were like nominally in their service area. So I have searched for like local lawn care, but I haven't seen any of them. So
Gotcha.
I don't know if it's just
Gotcha.
been like low
Okay.
competition enough that, maybe I'm going to start an arms race of professionalism and maybe no one's just had to do it yet because it's
That'd
been
be great.
working as is.
That'd be
Yeah.
great to pioneer that over there, man.
We
That'd be
uplift
pretty
the
interesting.
whole industry.
Well, I think, yeah, no, seriously. But I think doing stuff like that unique advertisement and like the communal stuff, things like that, that's going to set you aside from those people. That's going to set you aside from, that's what we were talking about earlier, is that's what's going to set the precedence of y'all's company aside from them. It's like, oh, this is nice, this is refreshing. So when they get the bill, or when there's a different way of doing things, we only do weekly services, or we only come in your area a certain time of the week, to maintain professionality. They're already kind of, okay, yeah, I know, I get that, no problem. We totally get that. That's what those other guys probably aren't doing. And, they're probably showing up, 2 days late. They're not communicating. They're probably leaving grease spots in the front of the client's lawn, and I'm just throwing examples out there. There could be, a number of other things, but it's stuff like that. It's a different way of thinking in advertisement and when you're doing customer service. Or I was talking with Mark Carter with Patriot Outdoor in Oklahoma, bringing up like filling the dog bowls up when you're there when it's hot, or bringing up like the trash cans on trash day if you see it down there, or maybe just blowing off the extra patio around the side of the house that they never got to, kind of thing. I don't know. It's little things like that, an addendum to what you were saying earlier with that advertisement piece, and already having the baseline of professionality. That's what's probably going to get you. That's probably what's going to let you be sustainable, number one, and also make a difference in their lives, because they're not expecting that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you may be at the forefront of something new for the next generation or two for that area. Who knows?
Yeah. So what is maybe a piece of advice you wish you'd been given at the very outset of your business?
When I started, it was 2009, and if I could do it all over again, starting with the CRM, credit cards on file, and either pay as you go for the client, you pay as you go, charge while you're there, or upfront, like the week upfront, month upfront, none of that net 30, none of that net 60.
Yeah.
That's the foundation, and stick with what you're good at. Do one or two things at a time that you're good at, and make money with that before pursuing anything else. Our business was like a Swiss Army knife in the lawn and landscaping world. We're doing trees, and I've heard it before. You going into Sweet Sue's house and hanging a mirror while you're there, or whatever. coming out on the weekend, trying to do something for someone, the systemization, I guess, it's a few of them, but if I could do it all over again, if I start like if I get into another service driven business, I know it's a little more cited for me on the business side. It sounds like, it's more protection, I guess, for the business as you're setting up. But that's what I would do. I would have a good CRM. Doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but just something that sets you aside from what you're saying now. I didn't even know that was even out there anymore. I guess that kind of that they're still out there, long term. Credit card on file and, the appropriate billing structure, man. That's what I would do. And I would say dense, like what you're saying. But when I first started, that's where my mind went. I just automatically thought, hey, if I was I was a Dan in the van, and I would put out $20 flyers, $20 guaranteed. My thinking was, if I can get 20 people at $20 in a neighborhood, yeah, it's not the most money, but hey, it's better than where I was at, that hourly mindset, So my mind already kind of went there, but then I just gradually got out of that mindset. So I think in this day and age, anybody starting in, if they listen, if they listen to anybody on YouTube or talk with anybody at a conference, I think that's kind of like, which I'm grateful for. Most everybody's already setting up a parameter of where you want to be. And I think that's becoming more and more inundated into the new market as far as new people getting into lawn and landscaping. So that's what I would do. I could do it all over again. That's where my mind's at.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on, doing a little Texans helping Texans with me.
Absolutely.
It's always great to talk to you, man.
Yeah, same, man. I'm so excited to see your new business grow. I'll be keeping an eye out, man. And if you need any more bad advice, man, shoot me a message.
Well, hey, if you liked Andrew's advice, or if you are also excited to see what Canyon Creek Lawn Care does and how that informs how Lightspeed is serving clients, give us a like on this video. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're listening on the podcast, leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen. It helps more people find out about the show. And if you have not listened to Andrew's podcast, he has had some great guests, even my old boss, Jonathan Matoshnik, over on Lone Star Lawn Talk, available wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, man. I will see you next week.
Yes, sir.